Hello children, welcome to the second class of today, that is the 100 dresses. Let's get into the lesson, the fifth lesson, the 100 dresses. How many of you would like to buy the dresses more and more? Especially today's generation is too fast and they like to dress up themselves so well. Even you too would like to dress yourself so neat and tidy and all the trendy items you wanted to buy, isn't it? So today's lesson is on the 100 dresses part 1. The whole lesson is divided into two different parts. The 100 dresses written by E.I. Sir Esther. Sir Esther is a lady. She is the writer of this lesson, the 100 dresses. Before you're gonna read this, you have to go through the warm-up exercise from this lesson. How do we judge the people around us? We are so bad enough in judging the people. There is one popular idiom: do not judge people or do not judge anything by its cover. So we are not supposed to judge the people on the basis of their color complexion, on the basis of their dressing, on the basis of their talk, and on the basis of their behavior. Sometimes we may go wrong in deciding or in come to a conclusion that what kind of person we are talking to or we are meeting with. So let's come across this lesson, what kind of people we come across in the lesson, the 100 dresses. Do we judge the people around us by their money, wealth and positions? Especially we all people judge the people in different manner on the basis of money, wealth and positions. Or is there something of more enduring, okay, that's value to look for in a person? How can we look into a person and decide what kind of person he or she is? This story is a sensitive account of how a poor young girl is judged by her classmates. Okay, there is one girl in the story. It was such a poor thing that the young girl is judged by her classmates in a different way. Wanda Petronsky is a young Polish girl. What does it mean by Polish girl? A girl from Poland is called Polish girl, or any inhabitant from British origin is called Polish. Okay? And what's the name of that girl? Wanda Petronsky is a young Polish girl who goes to school with other American children in an American town. She had come to America as a immigrant and she was not treated by them, the same classmates, those are sharing the same classroom along with her. All her classmates started making fun of this girl, Wanda Petronsky. Why? She was not wearing good dresses. She never come to school in a tidy way. She used to come in shabby dress and she had got only one dress or maybe two dresses. But other students were making fun of this girl, Wanda Petronsky, on seeing the outward appearance of her. And these other children see Wanda as different in many ways. Okay, they have not just made fun of her, they also had seen this girl in a different manner. Can you guess how they treat her? We can't even guess how they treated her. Sometimes the way we treat the people, the way we talk regarding the people, the way we receive the people may not be of good way. So we always be good enough in talking to the people, and you must be able to give a comfort feeling and give them the light support to them when you are talking to them. Okay, we are not supposed to make fun of them or treat them in a ill treatment is not at all good. We are not supposed to treat the people in that way. We are not supposed to look at their money, wealth and positions. Read the information in the box given below and find out more about this community or about a related topic from an encyclopedia or the internet. If you wanted to get to know about this story, you can get to encyclopedia or you can get into net, browse the net and find out how that the girl Wanda Petronsky was being treated by other classmates of her class. The Polish American community in the United States. In the United States of America, the Polish American community, how they started living. See, the first Polish immigrants arrived in America in 1608. In the year 1608, these or Polish immigrants, what does it mean by immigrants? Leave one country and move to another country on the basis of the job, or maybe due to any disaster that occurred, maybe due to their climatic conditions. Immigrants means leaving one country and moving to an unknown country and settle over there is nothing but immigrants. Okay, as an immigrant, the first Polish immigrants arrived in America in 1608. But the largest wave of Polish immigration occurred in the early 20th century. But the early 20th century, many immigrants have moved to America in 1608. Okay, and the Polish state did not exist at that time, and the immigrants were identified according to their country of origin rather than to ethnicity. People were not in a great number in those days or in those years, 1608. That's the reason. So, due to their ethnicity means the way they dress up themselves, okay, they could be identified. Okay, and most of the people they couldn't, okay, find out what kind of or what origin that they belong to. Understand? So, due to their ethnicity, okay, the way they dress up, they could be identified easily. They were identified the Russian Poles. They were identified as Russian Poles, German Poles, and Australian Poles. See, Australians, Germans, and the Russian way of dressing, the way of talking, the way of moving with the people is different. So, on the basis of their ethnicity, the way they dress up, they could be easily identified whether they are from Russian origin or from German origin or from Australian origin. One of the most notable Polish American communities is Chicago and in suburbs. So Chicago is sometimes called the second largest Polish city in the world. Chicago is considered as one of the largest Polish country in the world, next only to Warsaw. Warsaw is also one of the places so where most of the inhabitants are stayed. One of the most notable Polish American communities are in Chicago, where we could see this Polish American communities, in Chicago we can see, in Warsaw also we can identify, and we can see most of the people living in these two areas. The capital of Poland, Warsaw was the capital of the Poland, and Polish Americans were sometimes discriminated. The people, those who have gone from Poland to America, this Polish people, the Polish Americans we call, the Poland people, those who have migrated to America are known as Polish Americans. These Polish Americans are ill-treated or discriminated heavily. They were discriminated heavily. And Polish Americans were sometimes discriminated against in the United States as were the Irish, Italians and Jews. And these people are again categorized into Irish, Italians and Jews. These three categories are low treated or discriminated heavily in America. They are called as Polish Americans. According to the United States 2000 census, okay, 414 Americans of age 5 years and older reported Polish as the language spoken at home, which is about 1.4% of the people who speak languages other than English. These people never speak in English. They speak in different languages, or 0.25% of them or of the US population. In US population, most of the migrants from Poland and other parts of the world, those who got settled in America, they cannot speak English, they speak different languages. Jews in their own language, Italians and Irish people, they use their own language, they cannot speak in English. Whoever is not speaking in English or ill treated by Americans. So now you can understand how these classmates of Americans, okay, made fun of Wanda Petronsky, who is migrated from Poland to America. So here we can understand that there is a lot of racism. Due to this racism and discrimination, this girl Wanda Petronsky was not being treated well. Okay, let's move on with the lesson. Today is Monday. Wanda Petronsky was not in her seat, but nobody, not even Peggy and Madeline, the girls who started all the fun, noticed her absence. Usually, Wanda Petronsky sat in the seat next to the last seat in the last row in room 13. She sat in the corner of the room where the rough boys who did not make good marks sat. The corner of the room where there was most scuffling of feet, most roars of laughter when anything funny was said, and most mud and dirt on the floor. It was on Monday. Wanda Petronsky, as usual, attended the class, and she sat in the last row of the class in the last seat. Not even Peggy and Madeline. There are two other girls, Peggy and Madeline. Not even Peggy and Madeline, the girls who started all the fun. Who started the fun of this girl, Wanda Petronsky? Peggy and Madeline. They used to make fun of this girl, Wanda. The girls who started all the fun noticed her absence. That day she didn't come to school. Usually she comes and sits in the last row of the class, but that day, to their surprise, she was not being attended. Usually Wanda sat in the last row. How was the last row? More roar can be heard, and most of the dust is fell on the ground. Okay, the floor is every bit of dust and dirt, and there she sits. And Wanda sat in the seat next to the last seat in the last row. Last row next to the last seat. She was not sitting in the last seat. Next to the last seat, she used to sit. And whether the rough boys who did not make good marks sat, usually the last bench. Usually, the last seat is being occupied by the rough boys in the class. Usually, the all troublemakers and all rough boys and the boys those who are making fun in the classroom usually would be sitting in the last row. There she sits. Okay, but usually these rough boys never make good remarks, isn't it? So such boys were sitting over there. Usually, that last seat is meant for them. There she sits and sat the corner of the room where there was most scuffling of feet. Usually she could hear the scuffling of the feet. The people used to come into the class and move away the class. All of a sudden some of them leave the class, and all of a sudden some of them will enter the class. That scuffling of feet can be heard the place where she sits. It means she often disturbed or interrupted by the people those are walking on the corridor and those are moving out of the class and getting inside. And most roars of laughter when anything funny was said. Suppose the teachers are cracking or pranks, some lively pranks are making in the classroom by some classmates, the whole class would get disturbed. In that circumstances, this girl Wanda Petronsky was sitting in the last row, but even then she always concentrates the teacher's teaching. She never complains about anything. Actually, there are too many complaints to be given by Wanda, but here Wanda Petronsky had not uttered any such kind of excuses or complaints. She never dropped any such kind of complaints to the class teacher. And most must not dirt on the floor. Most mud and dirt on the floor. The floor is consisting of more mud and dirt, but still she sits in the last one seat in the last row. Okay, we will see next class what would happen to Wanda Petronsky by Peggy and Madeline.